very proud. I'll explain that one. And oh, by the way, I don't know if you heard the news or not. Kyrie Irving is actually speaking to the media. Lord have mercy. First take should be interesting today. Let's go.
It's one game at a time. We have to play the Baltimore Ravens on Monday night. We have to do our job.
We got to start now. Season ending soon, so we just got to finish.
Mayfield trying to escape. Turns the corner, running away from Wolf. Touchdown. Baker Mayfield for the score.
Backup Trace McSorley. He is now in the game for the Ravens.
Trace going to keep it, and he slips down.
Trace hurt his left knee there. He went down really awkward.
Lamar comes in for 4th down and 5. Jackson trying to throw for it, and he's got it. Marquise Brown hangs on to the football and scores. This is for 55. And Justin Tucker has done it for Baltimore.
Just a little different, guys, than the first time they played in week one. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Right. Thank you for being with us. Stephen A. Max, I'm Molly. Guys, let's get right into it. One of the best games of the year. So exciting. Lamar leaves, Cleveland closing the gap, and then Lamar with some late game heroics to get the job done. Stephen A., what did he prove to you last night, Lamar Jackson?
Absolutely nothing. He didn't prove anything to me. What were we surprised by? He caught a cramp, he said, came back out through that 44-yard touchdown pass to Marquise Brown. Hollywood Brown deserves a lot of credit. But let's face reality. Lamar Jackson was sensational because we saw him do things that no one else can do from the quarterback position when it comes to running the football. And he definitely deserves prop for that. He went 4 for 4 on the final drive. We understand what second to last drive, if I remember correctly. The guy was sensational last night. Please don't get me wrong. But what I saw from Lamar Jackson is what I expect to see. A guy that is electrifying, running the football, and that leaves you standing there in awe by saying to yourself, excuse me, if this brother ever gets to a point where he could be 60%, 70% of himself throwing the football as well as he is at running the football, then this brother would be in the MVP conversation each and every single year for the foreseeable future because he's that electrifying running the football. But in the end, when I see this guy, I do say to myself, excuse me, there was a big chunk of this game where him throwing the football wasn't necessarily there. He wasn't that adroit at it. So in the end, when I look at it, I say Lamar Jackson is that dude. He's electrifying. He's spectacular. We all know he's a game changer, et cetera, et cetera. But are you going to let him run for 124 yards in the postseason? You might not be able to prevent that, but in the event that you force him to throw the football, is he going to be able to do that effectively for you? That still left a question mark for me.
What happened to you? What happened to you along the way? Stephen A. Smith. I remember when you were a tabloid writer. Tabloid just refers to the size of the print in the paper. Everyone who grew up in our era read the tabloids for sports.
New York Daily News tabloid, Philadelphia Inquirer's broadsheet. Okay.
Yeah, right. Oh, excuse me, Philadelphia. I'm referring to the Daily News. The point is, I remember Stephen A. Smith. One of the great things about reading Stephen A. Smith was he saw the big picture. Everyone else is quibbling about the little stuff, and they see the little, and they're missing the big picture. Stephen A. saw the big picture and encapsulated it and spun it forward. Stephen A. Smith coming out here talking about all the little details that actually don't matter today. What matters today, Stephen A., of course Lamar Jackson proved something last night. That was a game with 9 rushing touchdowns. In an era of passing, 9 rushing touchdowns. When Lamar comes back into the game, misses the fourth quarter, gets the ball on 4th down. The first time he touches the ball, it's 4th down, and completes a 44-yard pass. Escapes pressure, rolls out, uses his legs, keeps his eyes down the field, and throws a 44-yard strike for a touchdown to give the Ravens the lead. And you want to talk about the fact that he did? That's a Willis Reed moment. I know, Stephen A., that this is not the playoffs, but it's a big game. It's a Monday night football game against the Cleveland Browns, who are ascending in the division. Right now, they're in the playoffs, not the Ravens, at least heading into the game. And then, after throwing the 44-yard strike, Baker Mayfield leads them right back down the field. Now, how does the team respond to that? damn, the other guy just did it. You even saw Baker nodding on the sidelines like, okay, I got to do it. I'm going to get this done. And the maturity and development of Baker, was really on display. And after doing that, was the team demoralized? Oh, there's like a minute to go. Lamar Jackson's got to get us into field goal range. Got a great field goal kicker, but still. 4 completions to get them into field goal range. So you mean to tell me Lamar Jackson, who can't pass when it matters, right? Who can't beat the big team under the spotlight, I've said that, who uses his legs, but can he get it done with his arm, comes in on 4th down, 4th and 5, throws a 44-yard strike for a touchdown to give you the lead, and then instead of being demoralized, the team obviously is energized by him. 4 completions, you're in field goal range, and you win the game. And today, Stephen A. Smith wants to come out and quibble about the fact that they ran the ball a lot. What happened to you?
Well, I'm not well, first of all, you're not hearing my point, but there's nothing new there. I know it's hard for you to comprehend where I'm coming from because I don't say whoops when I'm wrong and move forward like I never was wrong. I acknowledge it. But here's the reality of the situation. When you look at Lamar Jackson, I will remind you, Max Kellerman, that coming into the playoffs last year, I took the same position that I'm taking now. It was you that was raving about what he had been doing against everybody in the regular season. And I kept telling you, excuse me, when you play the quarterback position, if you're going to make things happen, you've got to be able to throw the football. So everything that I'm going to analyze and dissect about you is going to be based off of that premise, particularly when it's coupled with expectations that precede the season. So coming into the season, we're looking at the Baltimore Ravens. We're predicting they're going to win the AFC North. Obviously, they have fallen off a little bit. The Pittsburgh Steelers surprised everybody. They go out to 11 straight wins to start this season. We see the Baltimore Ravens have some trouble. We know some of it was due to COVID-19 and beyond. We get all of that, but we also saw Lamar Jackson, who suffered real symptoms from COVID-19. We understand it because I think he slept for like 10 straight days, according to the reports or what have you. He was really, really feeling the effects of it. And if we're going to look at Cam Newton and say some residual effects from that might have affected his play, we can definitely surmise that the same could be possible with Lamar Jackson. But in the end, we have 2 postseason losses in as many appearances to fall back on. We have his electrifying running ability, but his inability to throw the football effectively to fall back on. So when I look at him last night and taking the heroics at the late game aside, because we have to acknowledge that that did happen, I'm looking at the vast majority of this game was predicated on his ability to run the football and Baltimore's ability to run a football because they ran for over 230 yards last night against this Cleveland Browns squad. So when I look at it from that perspective, what I'm doing is imagining a defense that could lock in on you in a fashion that forces you to be a thrower. And I'm asking myself, could Lamar Jackson that we see in the regular season deliver that? I'm saying I still haven't seen that yet. And that's what I'm looking at. That's all I'm doing. I'm not taking anything away from the greatness that he obviously has at his disposal. I'm simply saying if he can be this guy come postseason time, we've got a discussion. I don't know if that's possible yet.
Well, that's fair, Stephen A. I'll just say he can't prove that he can win in the playoffs during the regular season. It's not a playoff game. What can he do? But a Monday Night Football game, when you're in the 8th slot and only 7 teams are getting there, in a team you're chasing in your own division who you beat the hell out of week 1, but has come up in the world as you've fallen, coming off of COVID, as you've mentioned,
better than Pittsburgh.
with the game on the line, coming in with cramps, 4th quarter, 4th down, and doing what he did because he touched those 5 completions, right? Like the touchdown pass and then the 4 to get him in field goal range. To me, that what did he prove? He proved he can get it done with his arm with the chips on the line. Was it the entire game? No. Both teams ran it into the end zone a bunch of times. But with the whole question with Lamar, if you really want to boil it down, with the chips on the line, can he get it done passing the football? And the answer last night was yes. Spotlight on him, pressure on him.
I'm not trying to condemn the brother on a day like today after the performance that he had last night. But if we really want to dissect what we saw last night in terms of that play, that 44-yard connection to Hollywood Brown, can we at least acknowledge that, first of all, it wasn't like it was some dime down the sideline to like Manningham in the Super Bowl or something like that. Or Aaron Rodgers throwing it against Dallas, right down the left sideline the way that he did. We're talking about Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens running for over 230 yards, and then he scrambled to his right, and everybody descended on him because they know how great he can run the football. So he lobs a pass to a wide open Hollywood Brown in the middle of the field because he runs the ball so effectively. Everybody was collapsing on Lamar Jackson. He deserves credit for it, but let's not act like we saw Patrick